Hey Forkers, have you wanted to make kombucha but thought it was way too difficult or impossible? It's not. I know that because I made it. Stick around and I'll show you how. So kombucha is a tea-like thing that's fermented and is amazing and delicious and super ridiculously expensive if you buy it in a store. It's the kind of drink that people recommend you drink daily because it has a whole bunch of health benefits. It's a natural probiotic, it's full of antioxidants, it kills bacteria, it might reduce type 2 diabetes, it's known to help with heart disease. It even protects against cancer. That's kind of amazing coming from one little drink. So like I said, this stuff is expensive as hell if you buy it from a store. It's like $5 or $6 a bottle. But you can make it for like pennies a glass by the time you get into a system and you're making it over and over again. It's a bit time consuming, especially if you have to start from making your own SCOBY. However, once you get into a rhythm, every week you have a brand new batch. And it's really, really easy. So if you can get a SCOBY from a friend of yours that brews kombucha and 2 cups of starter, you're in perfect shape. Otherwise, you might have to go to the store and buy some kombucha. Buy plain, unpasteurized, unfiltered, just normal, boring, basic kombucha. That's what you want to start with. The supplies you're going to need to start with are like a big jar. 1 gallon jar, I recommend. That's what you're going to need for your first fermentation, but also for making your SCOBY. There'll be extra room in it for that first SCOBY making batch, but that's okay. Ideally, get one that has a spigot on it. You'll see why later on in the video. So what is a SCOBY? A SCOBY is a big, ugly looking alien type thing, but you're going to love it. We've named ours Walter. How does SCOBY get its name? It's an acronym. It stands for Symbiotic Culture of Bacteria and Yeast. That sounds gross. It kind of is, but it makes an awesome, beautiful thing. You need the SCOBY because it's kind of like your mother if you were making something like sourdough or dough for pizza or whatever it is that thing you need. I'm not a big bread maker person because I'm got a house full of gluten-free people. Bread is not our forte. So you're gonna start by taking this big giant jug. Make sure it is clean as a whistle. You wanna grow good bacteria. If there's bad bacteria in this thing, it could kill it. You're gonna boil 7 cups of water, or like 1.6 liter. Here you're seeing I'm boiling a big giant pot because I'm actually doing my first fermentation batch. Although it's the exact same formula, it's just half for making the SCOBY because you don't need as much. You're gonna boil that, and once it's boiled, you're gonna add in your sugar. For your first batch in making your SCOBY, you need to use white sugar. I hate that idea, but the nice thing is all the sugar gets eaten up by the SCOBY. It's just to make the SCOBY grow and be beautiful and healthy. It's okay, you're not gonna be eating that sugar. You're also gonna add 1 tablespoon of loose leaf black tea. It's gotta be black tea. You can't use flavored tea or green tea when you're making your SCOBY. You're gonna put that into a jar. So now what you wanna do is you wanna stir in cups of kombucha. If this is your first time making it, you're gonna have to use the store-bought stuff. You're gonna put a cloth over it, wrap it in a rubber band, and you're gonna put it away in a dark cupboard or closet or something where there's no light and just leave it. It's gonna take anywhere from a week to a month. It's probably closer to a month of 4 weeks. Just leave it alone. You want it to be in a slightly warm setting. You don't want it to be anywhere where you're going to get, it's too cold. The colder it is, the longer it's gonna take your SCOBY to form. The hotter it is, the more it might kill it. So you need a neutral kind of place. So 4 weeks later, you're gonna have a beautiful, healthy looking SCOBY. Maybe sooner. It's gonna look like maybe it's a moldy type thing. It's probably not. How you can tell there's mold on it, if it's like black or green, maybe white, you'll notice it's fuzzy, it's moldy. What I've made, you can see here, it's just kind of slimy and a giant hunk of white stuff. The little pieces of things you see on it, that's just black tea from the brew. So now you're gonna make your first batch of first ferment. Now here's what I recommend. You're gonna wanna make this tea in the morning because you need the pot to cool down. You're gonna put in 14 cups or 3.5 quarts or 3.3 liters of water. Boil that. Once it's boiled, now you're gonna add a cup of white sugar, or this is what I do now. I actually add a ½ cup of maple syrup instead. I don't use white sugar for my fermentations. After that, you want to add in 8 cups or 2 tablespoons of loose leaf black tea, or you can use green tea now, the same quantity. Stir that all together, put a lid on it just to make sure it steeps a little bit, and then let it cool down. It should take a couple of hours to cool down to like a room temperature that's safe. If you put your SCOBY inside of this stuff while it's hot, it's gonna kill your SCOBY. So you gotta get your SCOBY ready. You're gonna take it out of that jar, you're gonna put it onto a very clean plate with very clean hands. Wash your hands, it's all about being clean. Put your SCOBY onto a plate, cover it up with something so nothing can get on it while it's just sitting on the counter. You're gonna throw out the liquid that you use to make the SCOBY. It is probably vinegar at this point. You don't want it, you can't drink it. Throw that stuff out. In your jar, you're gonna put the room temperature tea that you brewed. You're gonna stir in that 2 cups of kombucha that you either got from the store or that's from your last batch. And then you're gonna add your SCOBY on top of that. You'll notice that some of my tea bags and my loose leaf tea got into the brew that I'm leaving. That's fine, I leave that in there. If I think some people strain it out, it doesn't really matter. Put some cloth towels over it, wrap it in a rubber band, that goes into your closet. Your first fermentation only needs to go for like 6 to 10 days. I do about a week just to be careful. Don't touch it, leave it be. Now you're on to your second fermentation, and this is where the magic happens because you get to add flavor. If you want, you could just pour out your kombucha from your first batch and it's drinkable now, it's kombucha. But if you want to add some flavors to it, this is what you do. I recommend like a 1.5 liter bottle. I got these things from a dollar store. Seriously, they were like a couple bucks each. They're beautiful glass bottles, they got an airtight lid on top. 3 of those were perfect for 1 brew of this. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take 2 cups out of this batch of kombucha. You're gonna wanna reserve that for your next first fermentation that you're probably gonna make right away. You're gonna start by pouring the rest of the kombucha into your bottles. I fill them up about halfway. Next, you wanna add your fruit or your mix-ins. I put about a serving of fruit in per bottle. So if it's an apple, I put in an apple. If it's ginger, I put in like a hunk of ginger. I don't do a huge measurement. Here you can see I am doing a mango batch, pear ginger, and I'm doing apple. So you're gonna fill the rest of the bottle up with the rest of your kombucha brew. You're gonna put the airtight lid on, make sure it's not leaking anywhere, and then you're gonna wipe it down, and then you're gonna put it in the dark, and you're gonna leave it for anywhere from 3 to 10 days. It comes down to taste at this point. The longer you leave it, the less sweet it'll be, because what's gonna happen is your yeast is eating up the sugars, the natural sugars from it. It'll also get more fermented and more carbonated the longer you leave it. You'll see the bubbles forming. Don't touch it. I generally leave mine for 5 to 6 days. I don't burp it in between. I just leave it. I don't touch it. When you're ready to try it out, you're gonna put it in the fridge and let it chill out. Then you can open up and let it burp and try it out.
Oh. Okay, let's try this one.
Cherry.
Oh yeah.
Looks like medicine.
That's the ticket.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, save some for me. Do not open your bottles while they're still room temperature or warm. You might get a little explosion on your hands. And that's it. That's how you get a cycle of kombucha brewing. You make your SCOBY, takes about a month, that sucks. But after that, once a week, you got a new batch. So you make your first fermentation, and then the same day, you make your second fermentation, and then you do a new batch of first fermentation, and it just keeps on going in this beautiful, endless cycle. I found that this much kombucha lasted my family for the week. I drink a cup to 2 every day. The rest of my family drinks maybe a cup. So if you have more people drinking more, you might need a little bit more. Most people don't recommend you drink more than a cup to 2 cups a day. It just, it gives you extra calories. Not a lot, because most of the sugar is being eaten up. But it still does add about 40 calories to more, depending on if you're adding other sugars. You can do whatever you want for flavors. The world is just full of it. Google kombucha flavors and people will give you recipes. You can add extra sweetener if you want, like honey, anything like that. You can add peppermint candy. You can add candied ginger, spices, pepper, whatever you want. There's so many different combinations and ways you can experiment. I've tried a whole bunch of different stuff, and we're still trying new flavors. And I recommend trying anything that's seasonal. Anything that's going bad or spoiling on your counter is a perfect candidate for kombucha because you want it to be kind of getting rotty to soak up those extra flavors. Fruit gets more sugary the longer it lasts, so take advantage of that with your kombucha. I'm not posting this recipe on my website because I got it from the liveeatlearn.com people. Go there or just type in make your own kick-ass kombucha. That's where I got this entire recipe from, so I don't want to steal their thunder too much. I'm already making this video. But check out their website. It's the perfect guide in addition to this video. I hope this helps you make your first batch, second batch, and all your batches of kombucha. If you like the video, please let me know. Let me know where you're watching this from. Let me know if you end up using it and what flavors you create. Send me photos on Instagram, tag me and all that kind of stuff. Hit me up on Twitter, on Facebook. I'm on all the things. Subscribe to the channel. Do all those things. Thanks for checking out and supporting the Former Fat Forker. Bye.